Hello there, everyone. Mohammed Najmi here, with another episode of Reflections and Reactions. But before we start this episode, I just wanted to let you know why there is no episodes these days of any either history or mythology or reflections and reactions is because I'm in the middle of moving homes, and yeah, a lot of stuff is going on, and probably in a few days I might not have full internet as well, as I'm shifting. You know how it is, like you're shifting one service provider for another place and stuff like that. But yeah, we've decided to sell our house and go into renting, unfortunately, for a while, because well, that's how the situation is. Cost of living crisis is affecting a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So at least I'm fortunate enough to be able to make such moves. But anyways, that's enough of that. Hopefully, in a week or two's time, it will be fine, and I'll start recording more episodes as well. Start doing more interviews and stuff like that, and putting them on, and hopefully also get back to doing history and mythology episodes, which I really want to focus on more. So, I just want to do a quick episode today and talk about the current topics that are going on. Some of them, I don't know if I remember all of them, but something big happened yesterday, as you might have guessed. Yeah, it's just the escalation. I don't know what do you call it, escalation. It has been going on for a while. Like, Israel has been under this onslaught of hatred from particular neighbors of his. And yesterday what happened was eventually what was going to happen anyways. I mean, people should not be under any illusion that that's what the Iranian government wants. Like, you can't negotiate these things with them, because that is what like, if they don't do it, then they won't be able to call themselves whatever they call themselves, like Islamists or whatever they are. But what we also saw was a lot of people celebrating, right? People in Gaza celebrating, or West Bank, wherever they were. And it's a regular thing that you would have people, like when Iran, basically what I'm talking about, the Iran's missile attack on Israel, which didn't really do that much damage or anything, but that's besides the point. It's the intent, of escalating the war. And they were celebrating, and this isn't the first time. Every time there's an attack on Israel or any Western country, these maniacs, as I call them on Twitter, they celebrate it. And after the Israeli retaliates, then they end up crying and they're asking for aid and whatnot. Like, that's the whole business model of Hamas and Gaza and West Bank, begging to continue their retardation. And it's not just them, it is many of the Muslims who hate the West. Pakistan does the same as well. Many of the Pakistanis will, burn American flags and whatnot, but the government takes aid from America, and they depend on aids and stuff like that from Western countries. And yet, even though they have these attitudes, and the people who have these attitudes, we give such people refuge, we give such people asylum, and we help them in the West. I don't understand that. When will it be time for the Western governments to actually grow up here and see the reality for what it is when it comes to such people? And this Israel and Palestine situation, I talked about this before as well. I've known this since I was 15 years old, even when I used to be a Muslim. There is no real solution to Palestine where these people will ever live peacefully side by side with anyone else. You can cry all you want, pontificate on the matter all you want. I said it a month or 2 months before as well. Before the October 7th attack, I was on a podcast and I was warning people of the same thing, that these people are going to attack, and the left in the West is going to be with them. They are never going to settle these Islamists, and for broadly conservative Muslims as well. They're never going to agree a peace deal with Israel, because they don't want to, they don't ever want to. The only real solution is for Israel to take full control of Gaza and West Bank and end this whole charade of there ever being any Palestine of any sort, and dealing with all the Islamist elements permanently. And I don't know, it probably doesn't sit well with you, me saying that. I don't really care. It is a reality, because you're seeing these things from your liberal tendencies while you're sitting in the West, while you're sitting in the safety of the West. It's like, oh no, there should be two countries. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. When one of the people is, whole intention is not to have a country, not to have a land, but to ethnically kill the other people. It doesn't work then, this two nation idea. The whole region actually will benefit from it, including the Muslims who are living in Israel as Israelis, the Arab Israeli Muslims, and all other non-terrorist nations around Israel, like Saudi Arabia, like Jordan. Saudi Arabia, you can be a bit like, they have they have sort of helped terrorists in the past as well, like Osama bin Laden was there from there after all anyways. But as a state, they're trying to move ahead, right? Jordan, Kuwait, Dubai, these places, right? It will help the people of those places as well. The whole aid scam of Gaza and Palestine will be stopped. And that's the aid scam is the one that funds this whole terrorism cycle all around the West from these places. The region would be one step closer also in dealing with the problem of Qatar and Iran, and start changing the fate of millions. Hopefully, some sort of moderation permeating into Islam as well, at least to a point where Muslims can openly convert to Christianity or even Judaism, who knows, and not be killed for it, right? This is how things start. Along with the Jews of Israel, their safety and their stability and their security is also important. They deserve it. So it's important for the whole region, and the trade and innovation can begin in that region more, throughout the Arab nations as well. And I've said this since I was 15 years old as a Muslim while I was living in Kuwait, and there were a lot of Arabs as well who agreed with that, who didn't, especially in Kuwait, who didn't like Palestinians, because they knew wherever Palestinians go, they just cause trouble. And 18 years down the line, I still maintain this. There is no two-state solution when it comes to that region. There's only an Israel state solution. And it's not just in favor of Israel, but in favor of everyone in that region, and in favor of reducing the influence of terrorism in the West. Okay, so this is what I want to mainly focus on as well, and explain as well my stance when it comes to such international conflicts. Because if I if I say something concerning these topics, people might say, oh, I'm pro-Israel. Or if I say something about Ukraine or something, they say, oh, I'm pro whatever, globalist. If I'm in favor of Ukraine, or if I'm in favor of Russia, then I'm pro Putin. Whatever, these labels are stupid. Okay, so I'm looking at the lens of how it benefits us in Britain. Okay, also about what is right and what is wrong, right? So if you don't have a stake in the matter anyways, but you're looking at it from the point of view what is right and what is wrong, and you will find on the balance of things Israel is in the right, because on the other hand you have a set of people who are not beneficial. First of all, they're not beneficial to humanity. They're not beneficial for the progress of humanity, because they're all they bring is like death and terrorism and disturbance and regression. But that doesn't mean that they are not they don't have a right to live and have a right to change their lives. And from that point of view as well, it's a lot better for them to be within Israel, because you can see the Muslims in Israel having changed their lives for the better, and have better prospects than Muslims in Gaza or West Bank. But that's besides the point. The thing is that these things that happen over there matter to us in Britain as well, because it strengthens it attacks on Israel, and successful attacks, God forbid if it happens or whatnot, on Israel strengthens this chain of terrorism, that the people who are funding the terrorism into Britain as well. This is sort of connected, weakening those links, weakening those terrorist groups and nations, terrorist nations, and terrorist groups who have taken over nations like Hezbollah and other areas like that within Syria and stuff. That makes sure, when you get rid of them, that Britain as a nation becomes safer, because it's easier to negotiate trade in that region. It's easier to negotiate other security matters with these nations, where immigration matters can be taken care of as well, and it makes it easier to deal with the Islamist elements within within the West when their funding is stopped, right? So it becomes easier to deal with a lot of those things. And as you can see, like, Qatar is constantly funding, Qatar linked a lot with the Iran, hosting the Hamas leaders and whatnot, funding a lot of our universities and whatnot. That should not happen at all. That was pretty evident, the display of that funding being shown in BBC yesterday, as well as Iranian missiles were attacking Israel, as Iranian missiles were bombarding Israel, right? So, and that's the same point that I took when it comes to Ukraine and Russia as well, that it is in our favor for Ukraine to have an upper hand. Winning is not a sensible position, because it's an impossible thing, complete win against Russia in that instance. But you don't want Russia to be stronger because your bargaining chip is weakened then. So you have to look at these matters in two different ways, almost like what is right and what is wrong according to your own sensibilities, and what is right and what is wrong according to the regional sensibilities and the history and the connection and stuff like that. But also you have to look at what is more beneficial for your country going forward, and not be too ideological in that instance. If it was completely not in favor for us, the Israeli actions at all, even though it might have been right for Israel to do what they're doing, I wouldn't be that much in favor of us selling weapons to Israel, right? But and that's understandable. That's not me being against Israel or stuff, but it just makes sense that you have to care for your country first. But anyways, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, when you analyze these things, you have to have those things in mind. And global, like, you can't be that detached as well. You can't be that indifferent as well, because we have to do trade. We have to do international trade. And these things, they matter. We have destroyed our own manufacturing and stuff, so we depend on other things. Like, yeah, there's a point of creating our own resources and our own manufacturing. That will take years. When one government comes in with that idea of, like, reviving that takes years and years. Until that time, you still need, even then you still need trade routes and stuff. You don't have all the resources. You have to, even to make something, you have to negotiate with people. Also upon security and stuff, you have to negotiate these things. So yeah, that's what's happened. And I think so people need to have a bit of a broader perspective of this. People need to stop having idealistic point of views over this. Israel is actually doing the best it can, and I think many other nations in their position would have done a lot more. I mean, I'm pretty sure America would have bombarded the whole of Lebanon and Iran by now, and just considered casualties as just collateral damage, and no one would have done anything as they did in Iraq and other places. So Israel is actually being very tactful, because why are they also, I think, so two broader reasons over there. One is that they are more most likely they are more conscientious people than their enemies itself, and that they want to live over there. They want to exist, and they have a willingness to coexist. So they are still of the opinion of getting rid of the Islamist elements and stuff, and then creating a long-standing strong partnership with the Muslim nations around them. So that shows the different side of their intention compared to these terrorists in Hezbollah, Hamas, or Iran, all of them, right? The Houthis or whatever, whatever other can come from under the rock. But yeah, we need to understand this, and this whole idea of like, you have these extremes, the extremes of the far left, which is for some reason pro Islam. We know what the reasons are. Like, it's the Islamists and communists. There's a marriage over there which always ends in a very bad divorce. And then you have the far left people who are just, they have these false conspiracy narratives against the Jews. It has been going strong for a very long time as well. Like, it comes back, it comes, every now and then there's these these memes that they put out, which have no primary sources. They have no they're no basic truth to it. They're just telling a lie again and again, and it just make it a truth. Like, Candace Owens is a big proponent of such things. Just saying things with surety doesn't mean that what you're saying is actually true. So there are those elements, and they're both like sort of socialist elements anyways. There's a nationalist socialist and communist socialist, whatever. They have the same mental retardations, to be honest. I think so we need to ignore those things, and we need to grow as a collective, as well as a society, as well, in our understanding of how we read history, how we understand history, and how then we translate with the power of the knowledge of that history, of regional history and stuff, how we and the knowledge of trade and economics and stuff, how we understand the current affairs, and how we basically understand what diplomacy actually is, right? Because that's what something everyone has forgotten. But anyways, those were my thoughts about the attack on Israel and what is going around. I will try to put another of this video out, because it's more convenient to do it just on audio right now, as my camera and everything is packed up. Everything apart from my mic is not packed up, so it's easier to do this. And hopefully once the move is finalized and I've got internet in the new place, then we can start recording interviews with people and putting it out there. Anyways, until that time, take care.